masses, just like witches at black masses, evil minds that plot destruction, sorcerer of death's construction. In the fields of bodies burning, as the war machine keeps turning, death and hatred to mankind.
Analyst Robert W. Baird, Deutsche Bank, and UBS all raised projections on Apple shares, and so you got to stock up 1.5% in early trading, and that would mean we'll see another record today. You mentioned what's going on with oil and the trade issue kind of going back and forth and sort of settling out for the moment.
Politicians hide themselves away.
ExxonMobil up 1.5%, Occidental Petroleum up 2%, and oil services, Schlumberger up 2%. Now, the most active stock in the trading on American Airlines.
They leave peril to the poor, yeah. Time will tell them they have power and minds, making war just for fun, treating people just like pawns in chess. Wait until that judgment day comes, yeah. Now in darkness, world stops turning as you hear the bodies burning. No more war pigs have the power, and as God has struck the hour.
Some analyst calls of note. Nike's up 2.5%. Share price up for the athletic wear maker raised the PTIG Needham Trust.
On their knees, the war pigs crawling, begging mercies for their sins. Satan laughing spreads his wings.
Live next. Yeah. Good spin, right? We're listening to Cake. Cake, War Pigs, Black Sabbath. Awesome. Morning, everybody. Morning, everybody. Wow, what a great retake. What a great take, man. I was dropping in some AM hooligans. The hooligans on Bloomberg Radio, man. You gotta listen to that shit, man. Cake rocks. Fucking love them. Wow. Wow. What a great rendition of War Pigs. Holy shit, man. That's so fucking good, man. And it's so appropriate for what we're talking about today, right? Fucking War Pigs, right? Nobody wants war. Even the Antifas, right? They're out in the streets, you know, instigating civil war, but nobody really wants war. Nobody wants armed conflict abroad, right? But you got, you know, now we're in election season, so the idea is to frame Trump. According to the mannequins, the fake whatever fucking people that are propping up the dead Joe Biden to go after Trump on his war policy. Joe Biden going to the right, campaigning, the lefty Joe Biden campaigning to the right of Donald J. Trump on definitely China, certainly Venezuela, as you'll see today. And it's just a crazy world, you know. It's a crazy time we're living in, right? So Mark Conte reporting. Kindly become a Patreon of this channel. This is new media, new news. Welcome everybody in the chat. If you're new to YouTube, this is how we support the program. We have a website here where you could drop some coin in the tip jar. That's wonderful, and you become a monthly Patreon. A Patreon. It's a new word if you've never heard that before. A Patreon. You click on this link right here, and it takes you over to Patreon, and then you become a once a month time supporter. Right? That's what you do, right? So if I ever get lost, by the way, just as a heads up, if one day you're looking for me and I'm not here, flash over to MarcusConte.com. I'll certainly be there, and we'll continue this fine work. You over to Patreon, and then Marcus in the future. So let's dive into some of this Antifa stuff first, and then we're gonna take a deep dive into. It's Trump versus Biden. That seems to be confirmed. They're going to try to run a dead guy against a very alive guy. And we'll see what happens, right? We'll see what happens, right? Is it going to make any difference in terms of our lives improving? No, I've always held to the notion that there's a one-party system in this country, and you're not invited to the party. They have the same donors. They have the same... they lobby for the same ruling class. They lobby against the same working class of America. No matter what comes out of Trump's mouth, that's what he is. And Biden now is moving to the right of him in terms of war. Of all the fucking things Biden could have come out and said was war. So let's take a look at this. Andrew Jackson is next on the chopping block for Antifa in Washington, D.C. Now look how close these motherfuckers are getting to the White House. Wow, Trump is rattling in his kid boots right now. All right, so here's let's look at this one. Which one? Oh, this is the one where they're trying to yank the shit down. Watch this.
Get off of the statue!
So here's a bunch of hooligans trying to yank down Andrew Jackson at the White House. Look how close they are. All right, killer. They got, oh my God, on Andrew Jackson's shit. Killer. Racist scum. Calling Andrew Jackson racist scum. And look at the Antifas go, man. They don't got a fucking brain between them. They can't. So what are they doing? Cloroxing the bottom part of the bronze? What a bunch of idiots. Why don't you use some explosives? So here they are, the rope breaks. It's like the Three Stooges. These fucking Three Stooges, they tried to knock down the statue of Andrew Jackson. But you gotta hand it to them, right? By the time the police got there, they had already... and here comes the gas. Here comes the pepper spray. Here comes the bats. Here comes the cracking heads. Police bringing on violence. Hey, listen, man. You're damaging property. You can't complain if you get clunked on the head for that. This fat cop. Pick up your drawers, cop. What a scene. What a fucking scene. Holy shit. It is. Cameo Masso in the chat says like watching a bunch of retards. It is. It is. And they're retards. So there's one other one. What other one? Here's another one. Here's them. I guess this is more of the action from behind, a little further away. Cops trying to push back the angry crowd. It really is. It's like scenes out of the '60s again. The Keystone Cops and you just got to de-arm the police a little bit, right? Because this cracking heads with bats, and splatting people in the face with tear gas is just fucked up. But so that's it. It's all under the umbrella of Black Lives Matter. And do Black Lives really matter to half of these people? I would say probably not, but that's not the point. People will say, well, the Antifa movement is using Black Lives Matter as a scapegoat. just as right. They're using just like the fascist Trump uses the scapegoat to scapegoat blacks and Mexicans and minorities and Muslims and Chinese, right? Same tactic Antifa is using to corral, to cuddle Black Lives Matter. Is that a bad thing? I don't think so, because I think Black Lives Matter gets something out of it. As I've said before, if you study the MO, the modus operandi of Antifa, it does not matter what you fight for, as long as you fight a common enemy. You dig? See, they're smart. You have people fighting for racial injustice, economic injustice, all these things, right? Well, whatever it is, gender, fucking gender justice. And they all fight side by side, and they don't fight over what they believe in. They fight against the common enemy, which is fascism, which is a capitalist society, a capitalist government that oppresses its people, that supports the 1% and shits on the 99%. You see how they're unified in who the enemy is. Because if they take down the enemy, everybody wins. Everybody gains. The blacks win. Everybody wins. Now, the tactic of knocking down national monuments, I just don't agree with it. I think that it's a... I mean, it works. It's, who cares anyway? You know what? Fuck it, right? Who cares if you tear down... Look, if you're going to tear down a couple of statues, I'll say this. If you're going to tear down a couple of statues, you're going to knock down some shit, right? You knock down fucking Andrew Jackson. Come over here in New York. Pull down fucking... What's his name? The guy that I was up there yesterday checking out. Teddy Roosevelt. You want to take down Teddy Roosevelt because he's higher than the black on the stand, right? Go right ahead, right? What difference does it make? What if everybody gains from that kind of rhetoric and that kind of action? If you're going to knock down an oligarch, if you're going to make America free again and prosperous again for the people, and have free and open, fair elections again, and stop all the warmongering and the blowing people up all over the world, and so many other horrific things that the country does. If you want to knock down a couple of statues to make it happen, hey, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. My brothers in arms. So who is Andrew Jackson anyway? Why target Andrew Jackson? Quickly, Andrew Jackson was an American soldier and statesman who served as the 7th President of the United States from 1829 to 1837. Before being elected to the presidency, Jackson gained fame as a general in the United States Army and served in both houses of U.S. Congress. As president, Jackson sought to advance the rights of the common man against a corrupt aristocracy. Aristocracy. I knew the word. And preserve the Union. So Jackson looks like a real guy, right? In the time, right? Take him out of context. Now he's a big white guy with gray hair riding on a horse. Fucking people don't even know what they're talking about. Bill West brings up the point that at one time the Antifas, they actually spray painted and desecrated a statue of one of the Buffalo soldiers, the black soldiers. They're painting Black Lives Matter and desecrating the shit out of the thing. Meanwhile, they don't even know what the statue stands for. It represents the black soldiers who fought and died in I guess, various wars. So, here's one other story, and then we'll jump into the warmongering. So, mannequin in police uniform found hanging from Florida overpass. I wanted to talk about this yesterday, and I forgot. So, out on I-95, the mannequin had a pig face. Let's see. Does it have a pig face? It has a pig face. Deputies pulled down the mannequin Saturday morning after responding to a possible suicide. So they came by thinking that it was a suicide. They found KKK scrawled across it, and it had an NYPD shirt. Police say tactics were used to exasperate anti-police sentiment, divide the community, said the police chief. Not dividing the community, it's to exacerbate the police. Still, no suspects. That's fascinating. So there's another image. Oh yeah, here's the image. Here's the image of, not really. Here's the image of the mannequin. So it does, yeah. There's the pig face. You can see the pig face. It has an NYPD shirt. Those patches are readily available anywhere, really, and it has a fake badge or maybe a real badge, and clearly a noose. So hanging. Oh, fucking pseudo hanging, man. Whoa, Antifa on the move. They're all over the place. They're everywhere. Right? It's a sleeper cell, right? It's gonna, as the girl said in a report a couple of days ago I did. She said they will move if the voices of the people are not listened to. We will use any means necessary. This is not a warning. I'm paraphrasing. This is not a warning. We're just telling you what comes next. Wow, those are fighting words if I've ever heard. Do they have the numbers to pull it off? Fucking they have the numbers. We saw it in New York City. Somebody in the chat keeps saying, what's her name, Anderson? You keep saying I don't talk about COVID-19. What do you want to talk about? It's a fucking farce, right? That's it. We know the story. If you say it, if you talk about it, they shut you fucking down. So it's over, right? It's over. Open up the economy. There's nothing more to talk about there. When time comes, we'll talk about some more, But all right, so here's the deal, right? So Trump, I got one more thing I want to show you, man. You're gonna love this, man, because this got me excited. Maybe I'll get you excited. I don't know how excited because it's about me, but here, look, I got my press credentials. Look at this shit, man. Right? Fucking, it's amazing, right? It's amazing what $5 can buy you today, man. Look at this shit, man. It's a press badge. It's my. Yeah, I'm with AP. Amazing press. Right? Amazing press. I'm a reporter. This is fucking fascinating, man. I'm gonna wear this shit. I'm gonna wear this shit right here, man. I'm gonna wear this shit right here. Who you with? I'm with this. I'm with the fucking press. Press. Oh, press. Get out of the way. Oh, clear the way. Show up on the crowd with your press badge. It helps. I mean, the police will laugh at it, but for the most part, people will get out of your fucking way. I'm the press. I get the better shot. I get to stand in front of you, motherfucker. For whatever it's worth, right? Right, I'm legit. Miss Chicago says Kathy's legit now. So Trump orders. You just walk by when you walk up to a crowd, right? When you walk up to a crowd and it's busy, you just go like this. You don't even say anything. You just go like this. Or when you're talking to somebody, hey, Marcus Conte reporting. Can I ask you a question? That's all you do, right? It's just a little prop, right? It's a prop, a street prop that you can use in the prop, and fucking So here we go. The only thing I didn't like about it for $5, the photograph is a little. The photograph's a little dark. It's a little dark. But I'll shoot another one. Now I know. I'll shoot another one and I'll do I'll hand them a lighter photo so they can't fuck it up. We'll find a better place. Right? So Trump opened to meeting with Venezuela President Nicolas Maduro. Ooh. I know Nicolas Maduro is a terrorist and he's a drug dealer and a drug lord and a dictator and he's oppressing his people and he's killing off all his people. What happened? Now Trump wants to talk to him. Why? Because the whole story was bullshit. We've had investigative journalists go in. Who was it? What's that fucking guy? Starts with a B. I forgot his name. But there's been reporters that have gone into Venezuela. And they've seen it. They've gone to the markets. People are eating. 80% of the people are well fed. Gas is free. Public transportation is free. The only problem is the U.S. choking them. Is the sanctions, right? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not on the right page. You're looking at me. I'm talking about this, and you're looking at me. But so there it is. Trump. That's Maduro. That's Nicolas Maduro. Trump opened a meeting with Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. And Trump said he would consider meeting with Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, who months ago was charged by our federal government with drug trafficking and narco terrorism. What a joke! What a fucking joke! To target. Right, this is all about oil. It's all about the price of oil. It's all about the price of oil. That's a Billy Bragg song, by the way. And it always has been, right around the time of the president before him, Chavez, Julio Chavez, Cesar Chavez, whatever his name was, the leader of Venezuela at the time. I'm having a little bit of a brain freeze this morning with names, but Chavez was the president before Maduro. Maduro took over, and at the time, Chavez wanted to create a socialist setup where people would get their basic needs met, and they basically publicized or made public the oil under their feet. Now, Venezuela, it's not a mystery. It's not a unknown fact that it's the second largest. They're sitting on the second largest oil reserves in the world, and they can't feed their own people. Why? Because of the sanctions. Because of the U.S. keeping their boot on their throat. Now, you could say, well, socialism doesn't work. It doesn't work because you've got a giant capitalist motherfucker living next door with his boot on your throat until you rethink how you're going to sell that oil under your feet. That's rightfully yours. That is your birthright. And that's what Chavez and Maduro are trying to say, that the oil, although they have mass corruption in the country, because for whatever reason, every country has corruption. We have fucking corruption off the cuff, right? And enslave our people. Those people are a little, I would say at this point, even freer than we are. Right? At least their voices are heard. Right? 80% of the people don't want anything to do with U.S. or the Juan Guaido, the fake appointed president there. But anyway, listen to how this plays out. So President Trump said he would consider meeting with Nicolas Maduro, just like he met with the guy in Kim Jong-un in North Korea. I would meet Trump's lingo. I would maybe think about that. Maduro would like to meet, the president told Axiom in an interview. Trump added that, I've never opposed to meetings, rarely opposed to meetings. I always say you lose very little with meetings, but at this moment I've turned them down. Trump says nothing. He says a lot with nothing. A former Trump administration official told the outlet that it was a reoccurring concern in 2017 and 2018 that the president would meet with Maduro, who was not recognized as the president of the country by the Trump administration. That's changing. Trump is changing his tune because he realizes how fucking ridiculous. They followed John Bolton's lead and Elliot Abrams and Mike Pompeo. Those are warmongers. Right? Trump surrounded himself with swamp. And he realizes that Maduro in Venezuela is not what he was told it was. But again, don't discount. That's not to discount Trump's greed. Trump sees the value in the oil, to get in there and fucking take over, right? Take over that oil reserve. That's what's on Trump's mind. And now he realizes that the Venezuelan people, Trump realizes that the Venezuelan people are much, much tighter and much less prone to the propaganda than they had expected. U.S. and dozens of other countries support and recognize Juan Guaido and his hot 27-year-old wife as Venezuela's true leader. But Trump writes John Bolton is his upcoming White House tell-all. Trump says Bolton writes in his upcoming White House tell-all that Guaido was weak as opposed to Maduro, who was strong, according to the report. So there's John Bolton saying that Guaido is weak and Maduro is strong, but telling the public that Maduro is the troika of evil. Right, with Cuba, Nicaragua, and Venezuela, fucking some crazy-ass triangle that he drew on a piece of paper and called them, it's such bull fucking shit. It's just people trying to be free. right? Like the Sandinistas in Nicaragua, or wherever they were. Right? Responding to the claims, Trump told Axios that Bolton is a nut job and possibly the dumbest human being on earth for supporting the Iraq War. It's Trump on John Bolton, but he was in lockstep with Bolton as Bolton was telling him to shut down Venezuela and steal the oil. Now Trump's changing his tune. So what does it have to do with Trump? What does it have to do with Joe Biden? I'm going to tell you in a second. Joe Biden moves to the right of Trump on this. Right? Fucking retarded. Listen, let's just do the build-up before I tell you what he said. Right? You may already know. So in an Oval Office interview with Axiom on Friday, President Trump suggested he had second thoughts about his decision to recognize Juan Guaido. I got to give some reverb to that one. Juan Guaido, as the legitimate leader of Venezuela, and said he is open to meeting with dictator. He's not a dictator. He's an elected official. Maduro won the election, right? He won the fucking election. And how dare the United States say that the election was rigged? How fucking dare you say Venezuela rigs their elections when we, U.S. is the monsters of rigged elections. There's going to be quite a bit of burping going on because this is actual salsa, not my usual filtered water. Excuse me. Driving the News asked whether he would meet with Maduro. Trump said, he already said that. I'd be open to thinking about it. I think about it. I always think about it. I always say you lose very little with meetings. The big picture. Trump also indicated he doesn't have much confidence in Juan Guaido, who has failed to wrest control of the Venezuelan government despite support from the U.S. and dozens of other countries. He's had no leverage. Juan Guaido is an outlaw in the country. Before the U.S. propped him up, 85% of the country didn't know who he was. He was some disgraced assemblyman who they kicked out of parliament in Venezuela. And then suddenly he tries to seize power. This guy's a fraud. He's a fake. They should string him up. But the Venezuelan people are a little more civilized than we are. If we have a leader here, you see what they do. Watch what they're going to do to Antifa. Watch when they start rounding these guys up. They're gonna send them down to Guantanamo and let them have a fucking powwow. So Trump said that at the point he weighed in and recognized Guaido was elected. I still think I wasn't necessarily in favor, but I said some people liked it, some people didn't. I was okay with it. I didn't think it was very meaningful one way or another, said Trump. You see how reckless and like unattached to the move Trump is a fucking warmonger, right? They are starving tens of thousands of people in Venezuela. They do it all over the country, all over the world. They did it in Syria. They're doing it in Iran right now. Iraq, of course, Afghanistan, fucking choking people. Choking them. Do what we tell you or we will fucking choke you. You want medicine? Fuck you. You want weapons? Fuck you. Choking them. That's what we do. That's what an embargo is. Right? You get what we tell you you can get. Even if some other country wants to, like Cuba wants to trade freely with Venezuela, we step in the middle. We put a warship right in between Venezuela and Cuba, and anything that comes along, we sink it, or we steal it, or we send it back to where it came from. Welcome to America. Welcome. Why it matters. If Trump meets with Maduro, it would completely upend his administration's policy on Venezuela. Top administration officials, including Vice President Pence and Secretary of State Pompeo, have invested a huge amount of energy in supporting Juan Guaido. Oh, yeah. So and I forgot to mention Pence. Pence is also a cheerleader for this coup, this overthrowing a sovereign nation in South America just because we can, just because we feel like it. It's huge. It's a huge story that people in this country fail to realize. They fail to realize when you want to look at warmongering, you don't have to look at China or Russia. Look at fucking what we do to lesser entities for profit. Venezuela is a great example. And in March, Attorney General Bill Barr announced that the Justice Department was charging Maduro with narco-terrorism. The DOJ press release announcing the charges refer to him as former president of Venezuela. So that's what's going on there. That's what's going on. So what did dickhead Biden, Biden the dead guy? Hold on a second. Biden, what did Biden the dead guy say? Where am I? I'm lost. I've lost my way. I've lost myself. Hold on a second. Not job. Where are we? Juan Guaido. All right, here. So Trump, this is Joe Biden tweeting with his mask on. The masked Joe Biden says, Trump talks tough on Venezuela, but admires thugs and dictators like Nicolas Maduro. As president, I will stand with the Venezuelan people and for democracy. Well, Biden's an idiot. Biden is beating the war drum. So with this move, as Aaron Mattei, one of the writers that follow the story very closely, said that in this move, Biden effectively moves to the right of Donald Trump on Venezuelan policy, on war. So what does that tell you? What does it tell you? They're the same party, but Trump is now backing off because it didn't work. Right? And or maybe it's a tactic. He sets Biden up. Biden takes the bait. It's just a big fucking game. They play on the same team. God damn it. They play on the same team. You see how they play on the same team? They're both trying to appease the oligarchs, the corporate entities that want the fucking oil. And not only oil, but they want to push in consumerism. They want to get that oil to give enough so that it supports the economy. Right? They'll manage it. Right? If Exxon goes in there, they'll manage the oil flow, and Venezuela will come out of poverty. Why? Because they don't have the monster on their back anymore. They succumb to the monster, and who knows? Half the profits will go to American corporations and international, multinational corporations will profit from half of the oil that comes out of Venezuela's ground, and the other half, Venezuela can fight over. People will prosper, and with that money, then we'll sell you McDonald's, we'll sell you, Blueberry and Barberry and fucking Apple, and we'll have them all walking around with high-end cell phones and fancy clothes in no time, charging them for their own oil and gas. Right? That's the goal. Right? That's the fucking goal right there. So let's see what Ben Norton, who I met Ben Norton in what was that store, bookstore? I was checking out Lee Camp at Strand Books here in New York City, and I spoke to Ben Norton for about a minute or two. I got a video of that. Here is the Democratic candidate attacking Trump from the right again. Ben Norton, my brother. Maduro is Venezuela's elected president, not a dictator. Trump has been obsessively backing coup attempts against Maduro while killing Venezuelans with a suffocating blockade. Matt Blumenthal, that's who I was trying to say before. Max Blumenthal went to Venezuela, and his father, by the way, Max Blumenthal's father, you know who Max Blumenthal's father is? Is Superman, is Mr. Reed. Fucking, what's that guy's name? The guy who played Superman and fell off the horse and broke his neck. That's not Keanu Reeves, but the other guy, Reed. So that's Max Blumenthal's father. Right? So he probably has some deep pockets, Max. Hey, Max, how much money you got from that trust fund from your father falling off the horse? I think he's dead now, the father. But anyway, Max Blumenthal did some wonderful work by going to Venezuela and actually mingling with the people. He stepped down on the ground. He went to the malls. He saw the rich, how the rich are living. He saw how everybody else is living. And there's no this cry of socialism and dictatorship and totalitarianism in Venezuela is a total fake story. It's right up there with the bug. The virus, right? It's the same shit, right? So what else can we say about this? So Aaron Mattei says, if Trump retreats from his current policy of trying to sanction and suffocate Venezuela into submission, Biden will make sure to revive it. Ooh, wow. So Trump is going with the flow. That's a powerful statement right there. Let me read it again. Translate. If Trump retreats from his current policy of trying to sanction and suffocate Venezuela into submission, Biden will make sure to revive it. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. These guys are great thinkers, man. I love Aaron Mattei. I love Ben Norton. I love Max Blumenthal. I love Caitlin Johnstone. These are great, great writers, right? You call them lefties. I call them brilliant fucking guys, man, really. Jimmy Dore has these guys on all the time. I wish they would talk to me, man, but I ain't fucking high profile enough, man. They fucking laugh at my ass. Well, maybe someday, man. Anyway, but I like to talk about this stuff. So Trump, it's such a powerful statement. So if Trump does what the president is supposed to do and negotiate and keep his feelers on the ground and keep his own cabinet in check, the warmonger fucks that he accidentally or inadvertently surrounded himself with, guys like John Bolton and Elliot Abrams and Pompeo and even Pence, all these warmongers that Trump is surrounded with, if he changes his mind and goes in the direction of least resistance, a direction where it's not war but maybe negotiate like he did in North Korea, he settled that guy down, right? He stroked the monster in North Korea, Kim Jong-un. Now he's doing it with Maduro. Is it a good strategy? Anything is better than obsessive sanctions choking the people. And I'm going to give you the details. Am I exaggerating it? No. This is what's going on in your name. This is what goes on with the American flag flying overhead, is that we choke out other nations. So, but Joe Biden, if it fails, if Trump's negotiation or change of heart or 180-degree turnaround fails, Joe Biden says he will effectively keep it going without any thought, without any insight. War is good for Joe Biden. And you can take that one to the bank because that's what he said. That's what he said. So Joe Biden is now on the record of being to the right of Trump on three things. Not only this, I was going to show you in Venezuela, but also in China, and also in Syria. He's in Iran. So I'll show you. Here's a great comment. Here's a great quote. America. This is Caitlin Johnstone, another one of these. I guess lefty writers. We got to give them a new name. Like, who are they? Who are these writers? They're not progressives anymore because they think Bernie Sanders is a total fraud and a fake and he rolled over for a belly rub. Right? So they're not. We need a new term for them. I don't know what to call them, but they're great writers. America is a war machine on top of a police state, on top of a mass media psyop. Wow, that's what it should say, right? See, that's what Antifa should understand, right? That's what Black Lives Matter should understand, that this is what we fight for. This is what we fight to overturn. See, all of the writers that I like, and myself included, we all fight for this. To know that America is a war machine on top of a police state and on top of a mass media psyop. And I would add all to protect a ruling class, to protect the 1% corporate banker billionaire class that control everything. And that's who we fight against. That's who we fight against. What do I fight for? I fight for anti-censorship. The ability to speak one's mind, right? That's what I fight for. And other things, income and wealth inequality, de-escalate wars. What do you fight for? Maybe you fight for, black lives that matter, that the police are rolling over, blacks all over the country, right? So in America, is a war machine on top of a police state. So you fight against the police state. See what I'm trying to say about Antifa and the messaging there, why it's so brilliant, is that it doesn't tell you what to fight for. It tells you what we fight against, who the common enemy is. That's why it's effective. That's why it's powerful, and that's why they can win. That's why they're growing in numbers. That's why from out of nowhere on the streets of New York, when even this reporter has no idea when the next rally is going to start, looks down Broadway, and there's 10, 12, 15, 20,000 young people, miles of young people holding signs. Where the fuck? How? Who? How did they get this thing together on a hush campaign? Huh? Where? How? Who told them that everybody hit the street all at once? And now suddenly everybody don't hit the street all at once. How are they pulling it off? Is what I'm trying to say. It's very, very insidious and very, very powerful. And if you think that it's over, you don't know what the hell you're talking about or what you're looking at. Because what I saw, and I'll say it again, what I saw on those streets in New York City, how this organization managed to carry 3,000 or 4,000 people around the streets of New York and systematically stay away from the police and cause chaos and break shit right under their fucking nose while they were on a block away, doing it to agitate the police. And it worked. It worked. Look at the photos. Look at my coverage of New York, empty ghost New York or full of boards. Does it work? Are they effective? It's a silent army. It's a silent army, and it's again, the idea in America this time around under Sanders was to, if peaceful revolution is not possible, then violent revolution is inevitable, and that's what you're seeing now. The young people get that, and there's no retreat. This is now in the psyche. When you see them at these rallies, it's like a tribe. It's like they're on one knee. They're praying. It's like a cult. That's where the young people are at in this country, and it's not just young people. That's what's going on right now. It is. I can't emphasize enough. It's very, very powerful. And how does it tie into, war? Because we don't want this shit. We don't want this shit. The people rallying in the streets, they don't want fucking war with Venezuela. They don't. Nobody wants. You take out the corporate. You see how when you target the proper enemy, when everybody's united on the enemy, when you know that it's corporate America doing it, right? You suddenly get free and fair elections. You get politicians that represent the people and not the corporations. You see how by targeting the proper target, all things come to pass. Now, I've been saying a lot of truth lately, so that means I have to look down and see if I'm still even live right now. And I guess we are. Give me a 1 if we're still live, and we're not uninterrupted live. So thank you, everybody in the chat. I've been rambling. You guys, Vinny DiMartini on the wrench. Thank you, guys. You got Tobacco Row on the wrench as well. I think Sterling Price is here. I'm not really sure. Harkview Cinema's here. We got everybody in the house. Thank you all for joining me. I am only important, and I am only who I am because of you. Andrew G, Bebop, Cameo Masso, Carol Hayes. Thank you, Carol Hayes. Chris Milk, Dead Game, Harkview Cinema, Her Pooper, In the Vincian Appriachi, JB, what's up? Jason Walsh, Jerry Fleming, Joe Kill, Liz Rivard, your stickers are on the way in Canada. Mike Denzel, Miso Hungry, Miss Chicago, OJ Johnson, Peter Plant City, Sharon Anderson, who wants me to talk about COVID, Sniff Matip, that what? Thomas Lawson, Tobacco Row on the wrench, Vinny DiMartini on the wrench, and Vanderloo. Thank you very much, everybody, for participating, right? Because you know what, man, this is what this shit is all about, right? That's what it's all about, right? I bounce it off you, I read your comments, and I'm a reflection. I am the cosmic mirror. Conte is the cosmic mirror, trying to fight this stuff right here, right? Trying to acknowledge and let people know that this is where you are in America. It's a war machine on top of a police state, on top of a mass media psyop. Right? But if you take out the corporations at the top, you no longer have a reason for a war and sanctioning Venezuela or police cracking heads. You don't have a need for it anymore. Or mass media purchased by the corporations. Know thy enemy. So is Biden's attack on Trump exclusive to Venezuela in terms of trying to pin Trump as soft on war, soft on warmongering around the country? Is it exclusive to Venezuela? No, it isn't. So Ben Norton tells us, welcome to the new Cold War. Biden's new ad is just unhinged anti-China propaganda. Biden will attack Trump for supposedly being too soft on China, and Trump will do the same to Biden. 2020 election will be nonstop bipartisan scapegoating of China. Let's watch the hit ad. Right? This is a hit piece that Biden puts out on Trump. Check it out.
Failed to act. So now he failed to act. So now Trump and his allies are launching negative attacks against Joe Biden to hide the truth. Here are the facts. Joe Biden warned the nation in January that Trump had left us unprepared for a pandemic. Then, Biden told Trump he should insist on having American health experts on the ground in China.
I would be on the phone with China and making it clear, we are going to need to be in your country. You have to be open. You have to be clear. We have to know what's going on.
But Trump rolled over for the Chinese. He took their word for it.
The president tweeted, China has been working very hard to contain the coronavirus. The United States greatly appreciates their efforts and transparency.
China, I spoke with President Xi, and they're working very, very hard, and I think it's going to all work out fine.
Trump praised the Chinese 15 times in January and February as the coronavirus spread across the world.
It's a tough situation. I think they're doing a very good job.
Are you concerned about its potential impact on the global economy?
I think that China will do a very good job.
Trump never got a CDC team on the ground in China. And the travel ban he brags about? Trump let in 40,000 travelers from China into America after he signed it. Not exactly airtight. Look around. 22 million Americans are out of work, and we have more officially reported cases and deaths than any other country. Donald Trump left this country unprepared and unprotected for the worst public health and economic crisis in our lifetime. And now we're paying the price. All the negative ads in the world can't change the truth.
So that's Biden obviously dumping the whole bucket of shit of COVID-19 on Trump's head, saying that he was weak on China. In that ad, Biden suggests that we should have violated international law and pushed into China to inspect their laboratories, right, on a whim. Right? We had no evidence that that's what happened in Wuhan. Nobody knows for sure. China's saying that Fort Detrick here in New York, in the U.S. did it, created the virus and released, and the U.S. is saying the same thing. It's all propaganda. You don't invade a country, Biden, over a propaganda war. You fucking idiot. You're listening to the CIA. You go right back to the Obama way of not knowing what the hell to do. So he relies on the CIA and the FBI, and then you see what happens. It gets so out of whack. It gets so overblown that you don't even know who's running the country anymore under a guy like Obama, who's totally soft, totally weak. Obama cares more about how his tie looks and how his shoes look, and how he looks in a speech than he does about world affairs. And that was just a fact about Obama. Obama was a total sellout. All right, so here you go. Here's Biden pretty much pulling off the same thing: invade China because they didn't open up their border when we told them to, right? Because we're the boss and you do what the fuck we tell you to do. Right? That kind of mentality is how you start wars. That's a Cold War. Right? They did it in Russia. They're still doing it in Russia. So anyway, there's Biden's tough talk. What else we got here? So is Trump innocent on, let's go back to Venezuela. Is Trump innocent on Venezuela? No. Trump has murdered, this is Caitlin Johnstone saying, Trump has murdered over 40,000 Venezuelans with sanctions. Let's try to justify the M word, murder. Did he murder, or did he do the old turn his back on them and let them die on their own? I don't know. If you choke somebody out, if you put your boot on their throat and they die, that's murder. If you cut off their food supply or cut off their source of income and cause them to have to run and jump over the fence to Colombia to get the fuck out, because the poor suffer the most, they have nothing, then it is a form of, I mean, it's a war crime in a sense. I don't know if it's murder though. A new study from the Center for Economic and Policy Research has found that tens of thousands of Venezuelans have died as a direct result of Trump administration sanctions put into effect in August 2017, and that tens of thousands more are expected to die as a result of additional sanctions put into place in January of this year. Do you believe it? Do you think it's propaganda? No, it's factual. This is what's causing the problem in Venezuela. You are choking them out. Get your boot off their throat and let them have their country back. Stop the greed. It is corporations see it as a giant opportunity. We can grab the oil. We can put in McDonald's. We could sell them Apple phones. We could sell them clothes they don't need. We could sell them the American way. We can westernize the whole fucking however 10 to 20, 50 million people there. Right? That's the goal. The goal to make it like Havana, Cuba in the 1940s and the 50s, right, where the mob ran Cuba with casinos and titty bars and shit on the beach, right? That's what they want to do with Venezuela. That's how Trump sees it. Put casinos. I know about casinos. I was in the casino business. Right. Some noteworthy points. The sanctions are depriving Venezuelans of life-saving medicines, medical equipment, food, and other essential imports. If this doesn't bother you, if you still want to turn your back to the way America does business, if you still believe that Juan Guaido is the voice of the people, and Maduro is a dictator and a drug lord and a killer, then I can't help you. This is not your channel. You just look at the facts, look at the people, look at the evidence on the ground. That there's no evidence to support any of the things that are coming out of the White House. And why the sanctions? The sanctions are to choke them out of their resources. That's it. The sanctions reduce the public's caloric intake, increase disease and mortality for both adults and infants, and displace millions of Venezuelans who fled the country as a result of the worsening economic depression and hyperinflation. All as a result of sanctions. Not a result of poor government within the government, poor governing within the government, but no, it's foreign intervention. We are the foreigners intervening in their domestic policy. When people try to do that to us, what do? We send the fucking Navy ship and park it off their coast and say, shut up or we'll blow you up. But Venezuela can't do that, so they got to take it. The sanctions have inflicted and continue to inflict very serious harm to human life and health, including an estimated more than 40,000 deaths. Wow. That means 2019 deaths haven't been added to this estimate. All right, so a lot of death. Because of the sanctions, some 22,000 doctors, about 1/3 of the total, have left the country. The loss of so many billions of dollars of foreign exchange and government revenues was very likely the main shock that pushed the economy from its high inflation when August 2017 sanctions were implemented into the hyperinflation that followed. It's all our doing. Do you see it yet? Do you see what country you're backing? Do you see what the police state is? Do you see what the military-industrial complex does? Do you see what happens when corporations merge with government and do the bidding of the corporations. Do you see what happens? Your president is the king of that. Your president is the king of that. We need a new system. Call it socialism. Call it whatever the fuck you want. I don't care what you call it, but we need a new system of the way we do business abroad and the way we treat our own people. Period. The massive number of already highly at-risk Venezuelans hurting from the 2017 sanctions virtually guarantee that the current sanctions, which are much more severe than those implemented before this year, are a death sentence to tens of thousands of Venezuelans. This is especially true if the projected 67% drop in oil revenue materializes in 2019. 67% drop in oil revenue when they have the largest oil reserves in the world, because they can't get it done because of the sanctions, because of the fucking motherfuckers abroad, us. The United Nations, two more points. The United Nations finds that the groups most vulnerable to the accelerating crisis include children and adolescents, including many who can no longer attend school. And that's socialism, right? You want to call it socialism? No. Wake up. People who are in poverty or extreme poverty, pregnant and nursing women, older persons, indigenous people, people in need of protection, women and adolescent girls at risk, people with disabilities, and people who identify as lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, and intersex. The sanctions would fit the definition of collective punishment of the civilian population as described in both the Geneva and Hugh International Conventions, to which the United States is a signatory. So there's the facts. Do you want the facts, or do you want fiction? Do you want that's what your president is doing in our name in Venezuela, period. Now, the Venezuelan people, are they on board with being imperialized by their very, very large, greedy neighbor and all the corporations attached to that greedy oligarchy? No, not at all. 86% of Venezuelans oppose military intervention. 81% are against U.S. sanctions. 81%. So 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 people would say, America, get the fuck out. We don't want any part of your intervention. We don't want anything that you're selling. Go away. So Ben Norton writes, the vast majority of Venezuelans oppose military intervention and U.S. sanctions to try to remove President Nicolas Maduro from power, according to polling by local firm Hinterlace. Laces. More than 8 out of 10 Venezuelans oppose international intervention, both military and non-military, in their country, as well as the crippling sanctions imposed by the U.S. to force leftist President Nicolas Maduro out of power, according to a study conducted in early January 2019 by the local polls. All right, so there's the numbers. I don't know what else he says. There's a lot of other stuff that he said. Oh, here's a video. Who's this guy? Gray Zone. Who's this guy? Let's listen.
Confidencial al cierre, Interlace. Ficha técnica, 1580 entrevistas
It's in
directas.
Spanish, man. Sorry, man. No, we don't have a translator on staff yet. So, Biden. Here's more. Right? So is it again? Is it exclusive? We've seen the warmongering in China, blaming them for Wuhan and Corona. We see how the sanctions affect Venezuela. This is all U.S. foreign policy. This is it. This is who you're voting for, right? Trump is pretty much executing the policy right now, and Biden is stepping in to say we're going to go more extreme into the policy if Trump fails, right? Because the policy is the policy. The policy is written by the corporations, and how fucking dare you to change your mind? You can't change your mind. This is the policy. Damn it. This is money. This is money, man. This is what the fucking money people are talking about. You want to check in with the money people? Let's check in with the money people. Check in with the money people. This is what the money's saying.
Are we looking at a more damaging break in the labor market? Does the shape of the yield curve matter? We're looking at late 2021, early 2022, where it really feels quote-unquote normal.
This is Bloomberg Markets with Vonnie Quinn and Paul Sweeney.
If you want to know how the other half lives, listen to this stuff.
Take out for me today, Paul Sweeney, a record high reading for the Misery Index and a record for the NASDAQ. We're going to be hearing from Nick Collis.
You see how they laugh? They laugh at you. The Misery Index. Look, the little people are miserable. They have an index for that.
From Max Neeson, and we'll hear from Larry Fink, Chairman and CEO of BlackRock. That's all to come with lots more. First,
BlackRock, a $1 trillion organization. That's what they listen to, a hedge fund.
This is happening as Donald Trump is supporting sending another round of checks to Americans and data that indicates American manufacturing is nearing expansion. Treasuries and the dollar are retreating. Let's take a look at the numbers here. The S&P is up 0.8% up 25. The Dow's up 0.8% up 194. The Nasdaq is up 0.8%.
It's all business. It's inconsequential business, right? It doesn't have anything to do with the well-being of its people. That's the point. When you listen to something like that, right? When you listen to their news, it's all about money. They don't care about the Venezuelan people, the international sovereignty. We don't care about that. All we care about is Trump going to continue the policy, and maybe ExxonMobil and BP and the other fucking scumbag oil companies are going to get a hold of that Venezuelan oil. That's all they care about. They care about the profit, not the social ramifications of their actions. That's capitalism. That's the final step of capitalism. And now we're calling it what it is. It's fascism. It's a merging of corporate and in the old days, it used to be a separation of church and state. The church had power over the people, and it merged with government. And now we have corporatization. And we have laws to prevent that, the separation of church and state. We put churches in place. But now we have the merger of corporations, the money, and the power. The churches had the power at the time. They had the properties and the power. But now we have corporations that have merged with government, and we need to separate those. Again, that's where we're at right now. So what's this? So Biden says no way to unconditional meeting with North Korea's Kim Jong-un. Now, I think this is an older article. I think this is way back. Yeah, former Vice President Joe Biden on Tuesday said he would not meet with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, who once lambasted Biden as a rabid dog without preconditions, as Trump has done 3 times. This is recent. So Biden asked at the evening's Democratic presidential debate in Iowa if he was willing to sit down for talks with the leader of the nuclear-armed country. Said Trump's meetings with Kim had been a gift to the young dictator, bestowing him with a sense of legitimacy. So that's 3 places Biden has moved to the right of Trump. In North Korea, iron fist, fuck him. Who cares a shit about his legitimacy to Kim Jong-un? He's done it in Venezuela, that he would not negotiate or talk to Nicolas Maduro, who he falsely believes is some sort of monster. And in China, where Biden is actively campaigning to drum up anti-Chinese sentiment and pin it on Trump, right? Using the coronavirus nonsense to ride the wave of anti-Trump, making Trump look soft on the whole fucking thing. The guy's a fucking monster, right? Biden. He's dead, but whoever he's listening to, I don't think he's going to get elected. But if he does, just know what you're getting. You're getting Trump 2.0, because that's the way it goes now, right? You can't be Bernie Sanders and look out for the people. You have to say, no, fuck the people. What do the corporations want? Because they're going to get me elected, not the people. Right? They're going to give me the $2 and $3 and $5 billion that I need to win. So more. So that's 3 already. That's Venezuela, China, North Korea, and look at this. Even in this is an old article. Biden warns ISIS fighters will strike U.S. over Syria withdrawal. So Trump, no angel. Trump vetoed a bill in Yemen, on Yemen, to allow the Saudis to use their $80 billion purchase of weapons against the Yemen people. Now there was a bill in Congress that was signed by Congress, put in front of Trump, and Trump vetoed the bill to stop the war in Yemen because Trump is in bed with Saudi Arabia. Trump thinks Saudi Arabia is cool. Abu Dhabi. I'm going to get a hotel there someday. Right after I'm out of office, I'm going to get a couple of hotels in Abu Dhabi. So Trump is no fucking angel. Trump is warmonger par excellence, drumming up a war with Iran, because there's a million reasons, and I'm no expert on Yemen, but I can tell you that just at face value, Trump vetoed that bill. So let's go to Syria. Biden warns ISIS fighters will strike U.S. over Syria withdrawal. So Trump made the motion to withdraw troops from Syria. He didn't withdraw. He didn't bring them home. They relocated them to Iran. The war machine keeps going, burning, death and hatred to mankind. The war pigs. They're war fucking pigs. All in our name. Former U.S. Vice President Joe Biden warned during a Democratic debate on Tuesday night that Islamic State fighters would strike the U.S. as a result of Donald Trump's abrupt withdrawal of American forces in northern Syria. That, my friend, did not transpire, did not happen. This is just Assad fucking, propaganda. Propaganda to prop up, sell weapons into Syria, make money. We have ISIS that's going to come here, Biden said. They are going to damage the United States of America. That's why we got involved in the first place. What fucking, where was, point to one ISIS fighter. It was propaganda, right? The whole thing was a farce. There's no more, what happened? All of a sudden, no more, because we're not funding it, all that shit in the Middle East went away, for the most part, right? The threat, the imminent threat is gone, and Biden is still stroking that one. I stroke the war flames. More intervention in Syria. More intervention in China. I'd start a fucking war with China over a fucking bullshit COVID thing. In Venezuela, no, if Trump stops, I'm going to continue the policy and ravage and kill Venezuelan people to get that oil. You can't make this shit up, man. This is current events, man. How do I survive? I don't know, man. I read all this stuff and I try to stay. I don't take any of it personal. Right? I don't take what I read or what I talk about personal, and I certainly don't take what people say about what I read and my stance on things personal. I just put it out there, and you're allowed to have your opinion. Just don't be a dick, because when you're a dick, then if you come here and you're a dick, then you get fucking silenced, man. You get silenced for at least 300 seconds, and if you're a real dick, you get blocked. Biden also warned that he believed if Trump were reelected in November 2020, there will be no NATO. Oh, who cares about NATO? Just stop what you're doing. Right? The architects of the so-called war on terror, and especially the Republican backers of the war in Iraq and Afghanistan, and an expensive U.S. presence in the Middle East, have long warned that the U.S. must intervene abroad in order to prevent attacks at home. Right? It's all bullshit. It's all fucking bullshit, imperialist bullshit. I mean, the Antifas have that right? The initial what did I want to say? The initial attacks on Weevil Boy says I keep my ego out of it. Sometimes I do, except when I'm doing this. When I say, hey, how you doing, man? Get out of my way, motherfucker. Get out of my way. I'm here to report the facts, right? I'm here to report the facts. Right? What I do is not hard, by the way. And everybody thinks, oh, Conte's, he's a smart guy. I'm not that smart, really. Oh, you know what I am? I'm extremely the reason that if I have success at all, if I have any success at all, it's because I'm persistent. I'm determined, and I'm very, very clear on what my motivation is. My motivation is for truth, is to get to the raw facts. And to me, although that isn't as quickly acceptable. You can go down the road of conspiracy theory. You make up a bunch of shit. You make up a bunch of lies about people, like George Webb. You make up a bunch of lies about people and his crazy brother, right? And then you promote that stuff, and you promote it down, unjust avenues, and people will flock to it, or to some degree, amazing fucking Polly and Tracy Beans. I put them into that kind of sensationalist category. Or you could just stick with the truth. Give the truth of the facts, and let like the people that I'm a fan of, Aaron Maté, Max Blumenthal, those people. Those are truth warriors. People that stay in the truth. They look at the facts. They give you the facts, and that's why I'm comfortable in my own skin. Right? I don't, So that is the if any successes, that's the reason why it's success. So there you have, there you have it, right? So Biden is banging on the war drum. He's trying to go to the right of Trump because he's an idiot. because Trump already has the power. Trump already has executive power. And he doesn't necessarily need the corporations as much as Biden does. So he's willing to go more where Trump failed in Venezuela in the eyes of the corporations. The corporations didn't get what they want out of Trump. So Biden moves to the right of Trump and says, oh, you'll get it with me. If Trump fails, we'll get it. We'll just vilify Maduro until we take him out and ransack the country and turn it into Disneyland. Right? That's what he's doing, right? Or moving to the right of China, right? Because the oligarchs want to prove that China was behind the COVID-19 nonsense, blame them for the whole bucket of shit, blame them for the financial crisis, blame them for everything, and get that vaccine, up people's ass, right? Vaccine people, right? Get the people like Bill Gates on board with it, right? And that's who Joe Biden is. Joe Biden's a trashy fuck, right?
Generals gathered in their masses, just like witches at black masses.
I can dig it.
Evil minds that plot destruction, sorcerer of death's construction. In the fields of bodies burning.
Man, loving my cake. Thank you everybody for joining me. Mark Conte reporting in the morning. If you don't like what you hear here, come back again. Maybe I'll say something that's right up your alley, right? But don't be a dick in the chat. That's the new theme, right? You want to be a dick? Go over to fucking the fucking Goodman guy, right? He's out there harassing people in the street. I have fights in the street, but I'm usually on the right side of the fight. This idiot is walking around Washington Square Park torturing homeless people. If you saw his videos, so stupid. Politicians. So thank you everybody, Weevil Boy, for joining me. Tobacco Rose here, Harkview Cinema. Thank you so much, Miss Chicago, and Vanderloo. Dead Game is here. Thank Dead Game. Sniff Matt Tip. Miss Chicago, Rand McCallow. Don't take offense if I get your name wrong. I'm just dyslexic. JB, Vinny DiMartini is in the house. Thank you, Bebop. Thank you. No, don't thank me. Thank you for being here. And everybody, kindly think about becoming a patron of this channel and make a one-time contribution so we can keep it going, man. Because I ain't going away, man. I ain't going away, man. You think Antifa's tough?
darkness, world stops turning as you hear the bodies burning. No more war pigs have the power, and as God has struck the hour, day of judgment, God is calling. On their knees the war pigs crawling, begging mercies for their sins. Satan laughing spreads his wings.